Hi everybody, welcome to Jacqueline Ann Designs, and we're going to be doing our first project to get ready for what really is our fall journal making project. But basically, because I've ended up with so many fall journals, which is a long story I'll tell you about later. And also because I know that several people in our group have decided not to do fall themes. I want to reiterate, I've also decided not to do a fall theme. Now I want to reiterate with you that it's not the theme that matters here. You can do Halloween, you can do Thanksgiving, you can go ahead and start on your Christmas. You can just start making yourself a new bullet journal or a date book for the new year. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So what you're learning is technique in this, okay? So what I'm going to be doing today is we're not going to start on the cover or anything yet. I want to go ahead and start on some master boards, and the reason being is they need to dry. These things can take a couple of days to get really nice and dry, in my opinion, so that I don't need to worry about them coming apart later. Master boards is some basically collage boards. And I did post the what all you would be needing on our group's page. And basically you use them to make different types of ephemera or tags later on in the game. And I like to use them. And also I'm going to be making another Christmas themed digital for everybody in the group, our group, to download for free. So I wanted to show you some of the supplies that I have. I have numbers. Numbers always work out great in, and excuse me, I'm getting used to this camera angle. It's hard for me to see exactly what's happening. But anyway, and I also want to apologize for the sound in the background. My puppy has a tendency to jump and get in the way of things. And so she's chewing on her nylabone, and it's quite loud. You would not believe that such a little puppy can make so much noise chewing on her nylabone. But anyway, that's what that noise is in the background, but it's keep giving us an opportunity to get this done. And I don't know if I'll use these or not, but these are some numbers. And I have a lot more than this, but just old page scraps. And I've got quite a bit of both regular music sheets and Christmas music sheets. I've got quite a bit of old vintage dictionary pages that I like to use. For this project, I even decided to go ahead and bring in some gold and silver trim. Don't know if I'll use all of this stuff or not. And then I've got some scratch paper that really wasn't specifically for Christmas, but I thought it might look really great in these journals. And I've got some scraps of tea-dyed paper, and some tea-dyed graph paper, and then a stack here of Christmas-themed scrapbook paper. And the reason is because I don't have any Christmas scraps, so I'm having to kind of create some. And I also have another bag of just whatnot scraps over here on the side. Now I'm gonna, then I've got my tools. I've got a couple of different sizes of scissors, because I like to use, and I'll talk to you about scissors in my favorites here as we're working. You can see that. And then I've got my, this I'll use a lot more than I use this deco cutter here, but this is my tear ruler from We Are Memories. And then I have my distress inks, my glue, and then I've also got a couple of stamps that are basically writing. They look like writing. And then we're going to actually be putting this on some misprint paper that I have. You know how you can be printing things out and your ink in your printer runs out and you get weird colors of things. So I'm actually going to be doing this on that. Probably the backs of them. but we'll decide as we go, okay? So as I said, I have my, vintage photo. And then I have my art glitter glue, which I have in the icing, the Sugar Bell icing bottle, because that makes it a whole lot easier to squeeze. And for detail work, I've got some of it in one of these little detail bottles. And I got several different kinds of glue sticks. These are not glue sticks, my favorite brands of glue sticks by any means. But with this project, they'll work fine. And I'm getting to the end of all of these sticks. So I didn't want to run out while I was talking to you. Now, so you can, you need to, when you do collage work, which is basically what a masterboard is it's collage work. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And we're going to be doing more than one, so I'm going to try to show you. And I'm going to first put that one down. And let's see. Let's start with some of this green Christmas. I think it's supposed to look like wallpaper. And I'm just going to tear it. And you can see when you use these tearing rulers from We Are Memories, it gives you a rough edge. So you don't end up with everything with a sharp edge, which is desirable. Torn paper or the torn paper look, not perfectly straight edges. That's what's desirable in junk journaling. And I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to tear this piece into several pieces, okay? And then on this particular piece, we're just going to use one. Now you can do this in several ways. You can apply your glue to the back of this. You can apply your glue to your paper. It kind of depends on what works best for you. And you're going to see me kind of flip-flop between the best. Now, one of the keys to using glue sticks is to find one that's available in your area or that you're willing to order online. And then don't stop with one coating of it. It's gonna come off if you don't, okay? And you only always glue lighter paper with your glue stick. Now, the other thing that I've got is I have my, you can use an old credit card for this, but it's good to kind of, with each piece you put in, and excuse me as I'm getting used to working with this overhead camera. I'm sure it's going to be several videos, but this has got to be better than the other one that I did. As I get used to doing this. Okay, so there's that piece. Now, let's see. So this one's going to be somewhat structured, but not totally, okay? Let's get, now these are actually papers. I don't really want to use that white one. These are actually papers that are made from cotton. And they can be a little bit difficult to tear. Sometimes you don't have a choice with them, you have to cut them. And the Decler cutter doesn't work that great with them either, but it's working fine here. I mean, it takes a little bit more effort to cut it, and it's not cutting straight. See, it didn't cut straight, but this is a junk journal. We don't need it to be perfectly straight. As a matter of fact, it's not necessarily what we want at all, okay? So we put everything back over into our pile. And I'm going to kind of do these sort of square, and then I'm going to add points of interest to it later. It's kind of my plan for this particular sheet. Now you can go ahead when we're done with this and decoupage it if you want. And I do that sometimes. About 50% of the time I decoupage on the tops of it. And that's another thing, is that decoupage takes several days to cure. So, even though it may feel somewhat dry, give it several days to cure. You'll be saving yourself some headaches. Now, when I could be using some ink on this, but so far, there's nothing really that I've been compelled to use it on. Now, when it comes to using the distress ink, some people use absolutely tons of it. Other people don't want to use it at all, okay? I think I'm gonna put, now here I am gonna use some distress ink, and let me show you why. Because what paper has a white core? And for many of us junk journalists, the white is kind of like something we don't want in our journals, because most of us are trying to make them look vintage. There are other people that have beautiful journals and they just prefer not to use ink. So no matter how you do it, you're going to be doing it right. All right. So this is a little bit of tea-dyed paper, and this paper here, you remember from when I showed you the tea dyeing video before, this paper here took on the imprint, uh-oh, I glued it down, took on the imprint of the pan. And it almost looks like, I really like it, it almost looks like dotted Swiss. I don't know if you can see it in the video there or not, but I think it's kind of cool. All right. Now, let's pick out something else. How about, no, sweetie pie, move, off. How about some old vintage dictionary page? Let's do that. Let's take off the top. And save these little bits. There are some really cool things you can do with them. Now, you have to put a limit on what all you're saving. I'll be the first to tell you that. But yet on the same token, one day you'll come across something you want to do, and it was like, oh man, I had a bunch of those strips and I got rid of them. Now here you're about to see why people like to use glue books and not glue directly onto the paper. That's why everything that I'm doing here is sticking. Is because of that. Is because I've been gluing directly on my paper. We have something called glue books, and glue books, you're going to hear different terms used for glue books. And in this case, different things called a glue book. There's even some particular art type journals that they call glue books. Now, in the case of this one, when I'm talking about glue book, I am meaning that it's a book, it's an old book or old magazine. That you're not using, or you may want to later use for backgrounds, because you can, once it gets all gluey, you can then fold it and use it as a background paper, much like what we're doing here for the collage. Now, you don't want your collage papers to be too thick. And this cotton paper here is kind of on the verge of almost being too thick. So, and I mean, I'm going to be doing things to it later that it doesn't really matter. But just to let you know, be careful with the thickness. This is something that, for me, collage work, the thinner, cheaper papers work best. So we got that. Now let's pick out another pattern of paper. Let's see. Let's get out a piece of this plaid and put on here. That would be pretty. Let's just cut a piece. Let's see. I'm still working on the bottom border, sort of, so that's where we're going to work on putting this. Let's see. And I like to try mine out before I put them on. Let's see. You know, I do have a magazine here that I can use sort of as a glue book. Let's do that, okay? So that I'm not gluing, smooth this paper so I don't glue the magazine down to everything. All right. I don't get a lot of magazines anymore. I think a lot of people are that way. Wanted to talk a little bit about scissors while we work. I would use whatever scissors work best for you other than your good fabric scissors, of course. And the reason being is that, you know, we're all individuals and we all like different things. So that's what I would do. Now, I tell you, I've had some issues with Fiskars. Fiskars has so many different quality levels. And I just had, the only way to know what you're getting is strictly by the price. Now, for instance, these are the ones recommended by the Arthritis Foundation for people with arthritis in their hands. And they made the world of difference to me. But they have more than one quality level of these, you know, with these spring handles. I'm going to tell you, I recommend getting the titanium ones with the titanium blade. They're more money, but they are very nice and sharp. And, you know, even though this isn't fabric, you know, you use your scissors a lot. You need them to be sharp. And so you're not tearing up your papers and your ribbons and things like that. And then there's a lot of different scissors for fussy cutting. And I'm going to have a video on fussy cutting. And what fussy cutting is fine detail cutting work. I use my big scissors as much as I can to do that because I find I end up with a nicer, cleaner line. But you're going to end up needing some good, small detail scissors. And for me, because of the arthritis in my hand, these are the ones that work. Now, I'm going to talk about cutting machines and things like that on a different video. But I like these. But I do recommend the if you choose to get these, don't get the cheap Fiskars because you're still paying a good amount of money for them. And you might get away, you probably could get away with a cheap, inexpensive $2 pair of scissors for your big pair of scissors. Excuse my nails. I'm trying to get my nails off because I'm going to be going for some job interviews here in a couple days. You also, for the fussy cut scissors, they've really got to be sharp. And if you're going to use your big scissors for doing any of your fussy cutting, your detail work, they need to be really sharp and better scissors. So it kind of depends upon the type of work you're going to do. Okay, so, and scissors are really important. Okay, so we got that on. Now, and excuse me, like I said, I am really learning how to do this. Let's put a little bit of our graph paper on here. Our tea-dyed graph paper. Let's go from this end here. No, let's go from this end because we're not gonna, it's gonna be up against us. You see, this is the thickness of paper that's good for collage work. It's thin. So, now we may have a visitor try to peek in on the camera here in a little bit. She's getting a little bit adamant that she wants to visit, so. And since she does everything with me, she really has a difficult time understanding. I like to put my clean edges towards around the edge of the paper. Now I'm telling you, I have made master boards you don't know how long. Strictly because I will take the packaging out of my Amazon, the brown paper that they put in the different things you may order, and there could be like 6 feet of that paper. And I'll either cut it down to make some or just use it the way it is. So there's that. Now I think it'd be kind of cute to put one of those big numbers in here. Let me find that in here. Here they are. Probably some old book page here in a minute. So let's see, well, I've got several pages here. Ooh, what about the numbers 25th? December the 25th. Or 2 and a 5. They may not end up on the same piece of ephemera because they're such big numbers. But now I will tell you that using this ruler on these tiny little things here is a little difficult. But once again, just remember that you've got your ink. The ink fixes almost all problems, all issues. I mean, it just does. And you're definitely not looking for perfection in this project because it's a junk journal. So let's see here. And I know that's hard because when you have in your past have done, I never really was into card making, but when you do a lot of cards, you know, card making, I think, is more detail, perfection type oriented. And because it's a different thing. And so it's hard for people to want to convert to this. And some people, this just isn't their thing because of that. Now that's my puppy trying to bury her nylabone underneath her blankie. All right, always cover your ink pad because they dry out really quick. And you always end up with a mess, a big pile of papers beside you, by the way. All right. Now, I have to tell you, my scraper here, the credit card, old credit card works just as well as this, okay? I like the bigness of this, the size of it, but a credit card works just as well for this. All right. All right, let's see. You know, we haven't put any music on here yet. Let's look through the Christmas music sheets. You know, kind of like this one, and plus it's got that picture on it. Matter of fact, I'm going to separate the pictures from the musical notes. Kind of like that idea. Let's do that. All right. Now I'm about to convert to putting my glue down on this paper. All right. By the way, for cleaning this glue off of your equipment, acetone is really, really great. You're gonna end up with gluey fingers. I'm sorry to tell you that. That's just the way that goes. But you're gonna end up with gluey fingers when you junk journal. I mean, maybe not for this project, but it's just the way it goes. And acetone works really great. And another thing that works fairly good, if you're gonna get it, like say off of your craft mat's getting really dirty, different things like that, is, believe it or not, is hand sanitizer. It just really works well. Especially if you have one of those glass craft mats, which I do. I love that craft mat. That glass craft mat that I have. That really cleans up well with hand sanitizer. And I keep wet baby wipes near me most of the time that's like one of my all the time things, but for some reason I didn't get here today because I'm not crafting in my craft room. I'm in a different area because the lighting's a little bit better for the camera. And all right. Now we're almost to the point where we need to add some points of interest. Start working on some points of interest on here. But we do have a couple more areas we need to cover. I'm trying to think, kind of keeping in with this green, more green hues that we have here. I think I'm going to go with that. I like that. I like all of them actually, but I like that the best. I don't really measure much. I just kind of go for it. Okay. Now let's take it down even. This is going to be in the center, so I am not going to want that straight edge there. Even though you end up covering up. Now see, this particular piece of paper is almost, it's not as heavier as this one. You know, the one that we put in here that was made out of the cotton. But it's kind of a heavier, kind of on borderline. Like I say, when it comes to collage work, my opinion is the thinner it is, the nicer it's going to turn out. And don't worry if you don't get all your edges perfect in this, because like I say, we still have to add our points of interest in here. So and we do that with shapes, textures, different things like that. Find some place that's not all gluey already. To me, this is why a glue book can be somewhat irritating at times, because you're having to stop constantly and change the page. Now, if I'm doing it on old book page, which is my preference over a magazine, then that doesn't bother me so much, because what that's doing is turning that book page, that old book page, into something that's kind of cool for another use for me. So, all right, now let's straighten this out. Now, I still don't know what my points of interest are going to be on here yet, okay? Now let's put when you're not going to be using that for a while, cover that up. And let's start working on some points of interest, which are going to be shapes. And I thought, let's see. that's pretty on part of it, but not the entire thing. So let's put this down. Now normally I would get my Fabri-Tac for this, but I think it'll work just fine to put in my art glitter glue. Then I covered the glues and why I used them in one of the other posts on our group. Sorry, I'm over here getting a plug out of the thing here. But let me see if it's gonna come out. Hold on. There we go. And I usually use Fabri-Tac glue for all of my cloth things. But this will hold this down just fine. And I'm trying to find ways to use less, try out less expensive glues for people. Now, I will tell you that this has to be held, and you're gonna end up with glue. This is the type of thing you're gonna get glued fingers over. It'll dry totally clear, even though I know in the video what you're seeing is white glue. That will not be visible when you get done. All right, now let's cover that up while we decide about some more. See, it's going a different direction, and adding, yeah, I think I'm gonna add that piece of old book page right there. When you're adding old book page, one piece of advice is to make sure, you can even use fairly modern novels that have turned yellow like this. Just, anything not to waste paper. But make certain that the words are not anything offensive to you or whoever you might be going to sell the book to. Now, I was kind of thinking of this, but this violin off this music page, but it's way too big. So what I'm gonna do is, in my scrapbooking package, there came this, and they're basically strips. I'm gonna cut some out, and I wouldn't mind this red one right here. Let's see. I know I'm pretty much off camera. See, the camera's facing down towards you guys. I mean, towards my hands, towards the work, so I can't see what's on there. And I can't see how much of my workspace is actually showing up for you guys. But what I'm actually doing is cutting out one of those strips from there. See, I like that right there. I think I'm going to put that all along the bottom. Now I'll just trim it off the back when I'm done. And I don't know if you've noticed how some of these points of interest, what I've done is they're all just, they're directional and color, to add something different to the color and also the direction. Exactly. So now there's that. Let me think. because you have to realize that probably this much of this will be on one piece of ephemera. You know, this will at least be cut into 3 pieces going down this way. And then it probably right about here going this way. So not all of this stuff is going to show up on all of the sheets. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, you know what? Let me grab this. Might see if I think a piece of this is going to look cool over there. And we're also going to be doing some stamp work and possibly some textural medium work on there when we get done. Now, see, I've got this. Oh, you can see it, but it's basically a paper bag with, you know, vintage reproduction pictures on there. Not Christmassy at all. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Yeah, let's do that. I think I want my glue book back again for that. Make sure nothing's gonna stick. Yeah. Now this particular glue, if you're able to see it here, is called a Pioneer Photo Glue Stick, acid-free. And it's one of the favorites of a lot of scrapbookers and junk journalers. I don't like it. I did not. I'll show you my favorite one here in a little bit. But it is, I don't, on a, probably on a different project because I didn't bring that other one, but it's called the Scotch Craft glue stick. Uh-oh, I think I might have glued it down. No, here we go. All right, and that's my favorite. It's the one I found, to me, seems to hold. All of them, even the Scotch Craft glue stick, you have got to add a lot of stuff down with. You know, you've got to put several layers of the glue down with a glue stick. But the nice thing about a glue stick is how fast it dries. Now that can be rather unforgiving as well, because, well, it just is. I'm gonna ink this up and actually kind of stick that in there somewhere. But I've got a lot of white, I don't know if you can see them, white edges. This is just one of the pieces that I tore off of that this one here that says Merry Christmas. And I'm gonna put it in another area. Like right down here, I think. All right. And I'm gonna do this glue stick for this piece this way. So I think you're probably already getting the point on the collage work. And there's different kinds of collage. There's mosaic collage. There's some that you end up kind of with something looking like a stained glass window. So it depends on the look you are trying to achieve. Now see, we need something right here. Let me see. I'm wondering if I could just get some of this and tear it. This is that cotton paper. You can see my hands are so gluey that everything is sticking. All right, now we're going to run this across the underside of it, across the top of our and your issue here, unless you need to cover something up, is not so much to cover up the edges of the paper as it is to add different shapes. Now this I can tell is going to come loose, so I'm going to go in here with my little glue bottle, which is also not working great. And that's, I think I may just pick that up and put some of this down. And then I'll declog that later, because see, it just didn't stick. And it just has to do with the type of this cotton paper. Yeah, it's just really, and then also it's sticking to my fingers as I try to lift it up. So, and like I say, you do not have to worry too much about this glue here. I'm gonna call that sheet done for now because we'll decorate it later. This will have to completely dry. I won't be doing anything further with this until tomorrow. Now, one thing I will do real quick before we go off camera, and I'm going to do 3 or 4 of these different collages, and I'm going to show you tomorrow what they look like. I'm going to turn this over because, like I say, all I did this on was regular printer paper, because when you get the glue and everything in it, it's going to, the glue makes it into a firmer paper. And we may still need to back it because of what's on the other side, you know, because you want these backs to pretty much be something people can ride on. It doesn't always have to be that way, but it should pretty much mostly. And you can tell it doesn't go with our theme, and it's upside down from the front. I didn't worry about it going right side up because it doesn't go with our theme at all. You should see it. I don't even know if it's evident on there. It's like purples. It was a fall print journal paper that I was printing out, and it's got the streaks that happen on it when your printer ink's running out. So that's that. So anyway, so that's that piece of paper for now. I'm not going to put anything else on it and make it any busier. I was thinking about grabbing a piece of lace to put on it, but I really think there's enough on it for now. And because this will all get decorated once we get done, okay? Anyway, so that's that for now. And I will see you guys. I think I'm going to be doing a bonus video because I want to make some paper flowers and butterflies before I get started as well, so that those can be drying. So I'd like to kind of show you guys how I do that. Anyway, so it's over and out, and have some patience with me as I get used to this method of filming. And I will see you guys. I'm hoping to get that other one with the flowers and the butterflies done tonight. And then by Monday, we'll be ready to do our cover. Love you guys. Bye-bye.